Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some recent developments from which we were distracted in the midst of the Las Vegas false flag operation, which we don't know if it was a hoax or not, or some people who were killed might have been simply unsuspecting spectators that were trampled over or killed after the fact by crisis actors who were probably CIA, FBI, NSA operatives infiltrated there. Multiple shooters anyway. The media now confirmed everything I was saying. And we've got this, the wildfires in California, in northern and southern California. Sonoma, the county of Sonoma in northern California, devastated by wildfires. I was there. And Napa Valley, the wine county. I've seen those videos of people there. Seen also the ones in LA, in Hollywood, and Disneyland, with the skies completely smoked out. But Northern California has been hit the worst. 20,000 people have been evacuated across entire California. 1,500 homes have been destroyed completely. And at this point now, FEMA has been sent there. All right, zero containment overnight. Absolutely, firefighters obviously don't know how to operate water pumps. FEMA has been sent there. They operate to set up facilities and shelters in Sonoma County and Napa. FEMA. This is the second time, the millionth time, right? Because the geoengineered HAARP hurricanes, right? First of all, that also, you know, they didn't really need them to cause these wildfires because they, as we know, they have been caught in California in previous years, like maybe 5 years ago, setting fires so that they could be allotted a bigger yearly budget and recruit more people or whatever, right? For employment purposes, to have a bigger budget at the end of the year allotted to them by taxpayers' money, basically. The same thing has been going on in Europe. In Italy, they're setting fires. And you know who's telling you that is setting fires? Stupid kids that set fires, like arsonists. Like all of a sudden, every kid in Italy has become a psychopath, right? A pyromaniac, which is a symptom of obviously somebody who's somewhat psychotic. If you just set fires, I mean, there's something wrong with you. You're not just eccentric. 20,000 people evacuated and FEMA is there already, like they're doing over there, for example, right? That's why they're blocking all those ships and cargoes, thanks to Carmel Yulin, that stupid mayor of Puerto Rico. And quite frankly, people don't see it yet. I mean, you're preventing relief from going to the people there that need it, the victims and survivors of floods, of all these engineered hurricanes, right? That started even before, because we had Matthew, Katrina, El Nino, Katrina. And this is going to be disastrous again for the people that, you know, lost their homes and that have been forced to evacuate. It's probably worse ending up in the hands of FEMA that won't pay you for flood insurance money. So they never paid them to the victims of Katrina, for example. It's been years. Yeah, the Red Cross, in the meantime, will go there as well. The UN troops are all over, FEMA camps, all over the United States, in all those areas. Probably bringing in people that have been affected by pathogens, that have been released, viral pathogens, that have been released in the air and carried through the delivery systems that were these high active frequency auroral project weapon sent out to do its job, maneuvered like a joystick by DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. And you see, it's either the globalists that are doing this, or arsonists, or God's punishment on America for allowing themselves to be fooled for so long by the Federal Reserve Bank, by the Trilateral Commission, by the Council of Foreign Relations, by Wall Street, everybody there, by J.P. Morgan, by Rockefellers, Rothschilds, even though David Rockefeller is dead, his inheritors, whoever they are, 50 cousins. Rothschilds, all of them that own $500 trillion, the Queen of England, biggest real estate landowner in the world, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, along with her husband, Prince Philip, who refuses to die and who murdered Princess Diana in a ritual that was meant, of course, to steal her energy, but it was conducted under the Pont d'Alme, the bridge, which, by the way, was the site of a sacrificial site to the goddess Diana of the hunting, goddess of the hunt of the forests. In other words, a divine emanation of the Godhead that acquired anthropomorphic qualities and was also stigmatized negatively by, of course, the Vatican Zionist Jesuit Church Alliance. There's a lot of things to talk about. I don't know where you would like me to go. Let's go immediately to Iran, because this is the next thing. FEMA is going to do the same thing there that they've been doing. Like I said, child trafficking, human trafficking, sex slave trafficking for their masters, right? Like big Hollywood elites, such as Harvey Weinstein, whatever his name is, right? And the big producer, filmmaker, who's been having sex everywhere with and harassing sexually women and raping them. And probably, obviously, engaged in pedophilia. Now, that's the next big thing that will come up for sure. Okay? For sure. Because they're not bringing out pedophilia, except for all the ones that are already exposing and have been exposing it, including rappers, and including, of course, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Ashton Kutcher, you know, people that had spoken out about the pedophile network that Hollywood is. Now they're all going down. All of them will be exposed. It's going to start a chain reaction. This is what I'm saying. Is it God's punishment? I don't know. Iran, though, see, this is another thing that we need to concentrate here, because these are multi-pronged attacks. Right? And what they want is also not only to continue the damage of FEMA, that's going to be done by FEMA, right, in these wildfires that they set, okay, and maybe using our technology, I don't know, maybe they can light a fire if they concentrate a laser. If they're using lasers and polarize them, they can obviously start fires invisible to the human eye, or maybe just a flash overnight. They can regulate the potency of the beam that is polarized, for example. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like a magnifying glass, and they've got Skynet to do it, and they've got the sun's ionosphere that is emitting solar flare radiation at an incredibly high level, and pretty soon it'll lick us out of existence, right? And polarizing it for their objectives to create hurricanes, to create earthquakes, to create wildfires, or anything that will be the result of storms that are electrical lightning storms that will strike a tree and make it burn in hot areas like that. I've been in Sonoma. It's a great place. I've been to Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa is a city. It's devastated. I was there. It's a small city. It's a town. But I know a lot of people there. I got to get in touch with them. Unless they're lying to me about this. Iran. The real smokescreen, right, is North Korea, because it's Iran that they want to have a war with and invade. And North Korea is just a diversion, because, you see, now the U.S., as we've heard, threatens to pull out of the Iran nuclear deal agreement, right, made in 2015 under Obama administration, that said that Iran for 15 years won't be engaging in building nuclear weapons in its nuclear weapon program, right? But then Trump suspects them of being the ones that are helping ISIS, and also of being terrorists, and also of funding the nuclear program of Kim Jong-un of North Korea. But the reality is that North Korea also has other potential allies still that are not enforcing trade sanctions and have not moved away, like China or Russia, such as the Democratic Republic of Congo, engaged in the homicide, and destruction and genocide of everybody in the region there, any ethnic diverse group and faction and tribe. And they were, Kim Jong-un was caught in 2016 by the UN arming and training the Congolese troops of the Democratic Republic of Congo, not democratic, genocidal and Pol Potist and Maoist and communist to the maximum, and Stalinist, worse, Pol Potist. Would have been better if they had somebody nationalist like Chiang Kai-shek, even though he did less damage than Mao. And so they want to go there and invade Iran, all right? And the CIA is, in the meantime, engaged in trying to create a false flag with North Korea, because if they can't create a war with North Korea, they'll have another nuclear war, and it will be with Iran, which is also a nuclear power. Now, Congo has mineral deposits of every atomic material you can think of, okay? Nuclear material of any kind. Radium, they even have, uranium, plutonium, whatever else they use, okay? And that's how they have been repaying North Korea, I bet you. I broke that because nobody wanted to talk about it months ago. So it's not Iran, but you see, North Korea is a smokescreen. And it's just like Hugo Chavez said when he mentioned the relationship between geoengineered weaponry and the US's ultimate goal to invade Iran. He mentioned it, Hugo Chavez, the Venezuelan late dictator, who died in 2013, mentioned it in 2010, before they assassinated him, the CIA assassinated him. And he mentioned that the earthquake that struck Haiti was a geoengineered HAARP, probably, like I said, but he didn't mention the word HAARP, but geoengineered weapon caused by the US military navy and intelligence, right? CIA, of course. And Navy intel, which existed before the CIA's creation in 1947. Shortly after the Roswell crash, 2 months after the Roswell crashes, there were 2 crashes in that specific 2 months. But, so you see, North Korea is the smokescreen, and Hugo Chavez says that that weapon that created the earthquake was just a test for a final objective, which was ultimately, apparently in the whole geopolitical stages, right? The destruction of Iran with an earthquake. But maybe they're going to do it with nuclear war. They need a nuclear war either way, you see, and they need to cause civil war, and they need to establish martial law. At this point, they're doing it. They've done it. They're doing it in front of our very eyes. We're living in it, and we're still shocked about it. I mean, not that many people are shocked about it. Even us are shocked about it, but we're not really reacting and responding appropriately to this. It's not enough to make videos, apparently. We can't go out and protest peacefully because we've got those stupid antifas that will attack you if you're white, and you've got a sign that says peace. So, and especially because they've infiltrated operatives in the white nationalists that act, paid actors, that are supposed to act like extremists, that among white nationalists that are holding peaceful protests for the removal of statues that are Confederate and that are a piece of history and memory, but they want to erase that, see, because history is written by winners, right? Regardless of whether they're the enemy or not. If they're winners, then history will be rearranged to their purpose. And what else shall we talk about? Yeah, so you see, Iran is going to be the next target, and maybe North Korea, but they definitely need Iran, which was anyway a CIA puppet established there under Zbigniew Brzezinski, National Security Advisor to Jimmy Carter, with the help of the CIA, of course, a CIA puppet regime, where they can't hold democratic elections. Right now, thankfully, they had a nuclear program, right? But I'm saying they had to have this moratorium enforced on them, and they're behind. And now, if Trump pulls out of it, it's probably because he's listening to the stupid generals that are giving him false intel, or he's just decided to go along with their plan completely. So great. Gays were allowed to donate, you might not remember this, blood in 2014 in California, which already by then was already a terrifying, liberal, idiotic place, communist, and extremely, extremely far left, already in 2014. They were allowed to donate blood. A law was passed, and then in other states. And now people are surprised that they're going to reduce the penalty for an HIV-infected person who passes his disease on without telling their partner that they have the disease, they have HIV, that they're HIV positive or negative, whatever, right? They reduce that to a penalty, to a felon, less than a speeding ticket fine. From a felony, it's been reduced to a speeding ticket fine price. And people are, you see, people are confused by what they're doing. Don't be confused, because if you've watched my videos and watched everybody in the alternative media, this is what's happening. Martial law meant to create civil chaos. Just look at all the cards in the Steve Jackson's Illuminati card game. These people are time travelers, or they have visions of the future, like a reality, an occult reality. Just like Stanley Kubrick apparently said he used to. That's how he came with his ideas. But, you see, if you're practicing remote viewing, then it's natural for you to see something like that, to see the truth. And astral travel when you're sleeping. All right, you guys think about that. I think I've covered most of what I wanted to cover. The civil war in Spain. The civil war in Spain. The Spanish, and of course now the Spanish Catalonians, the Catalonians are going there, the ones that want to remain under the rule of the Spanish constitutional monarchy, which is not constitutional, right? Because they've been implanted there as well. They're causing dissent and fomenting propaganda and writing shit that is false, fake news in the national newspapers that even Catalans are reading and falling for it and going in the streets to protest now after they said, well, I don't know, I guess they want independence, even though I'm Catalonian. If the Catalonians want independence, they should have it. 99% of the people voted. Right? But see, this is the agitation, propaganda, and dissent maneuver, right? Of course, divide and conquer by controlling opposite sides, having opposite infiltrators there, like George Soros usually does. So I was right when I made that video where I said there's civil war in Spain even before there was. By civil war, that's exactly what I meant. They were trying to eventually get the Spanish people and the Spanish Catalonians and the Catalonians that live there, right? Those that are a cross between Spanish ancestors and Catalonians from Aragon and Castile, right? Before they were unified in the 15th century under King Ferdinand and under Queen Isabella. All right? I mean, it was obvious to me, and I've been proven right once again. Just so you know. Because I'm reliable, and I think, and I meditate on things, and I receive illumination. Thank you for following, and God bless you. I'll see you soon.